Hello, science teaching class. This is Mr. Shawley, and in this video, I'll be talking about the flipped classroom. This short video will demonstrate what the flipped classroom is by comparing it with the traditional or conventional classroom. Also, we'll be looking at the flipped classroom from the new Bloom's taxonomy point of view. So I'm going to start off with a short video that will take us inside the flipped classroom.
Finally tonight, a new way for school kids to do their homework, and perhaps a ray of hope for the parents who frequently get called upon to help. Dean Reynolds takes us inside the flipped classroom. The wave has to travel a lot farther.
At Warren Township High School in Gurnee, Illinois, science teacher Colin Black helps kids do homework in class and sends his lectures home.
The part goes also like that.
Black and others who've embraced what's called the flipped classroom condense their lectures into a brief, homemade, and often lighthearted video.
Visible light is actually the smallest, tiniest part of the electromagnetic spectrum.
Students can digest the information outside of class whenever they like. The next day, they get their questions answered and apply the lesson with the teacher in the room.
I can talk faster in the video because I don't have to slow down for the kids to make sure they're catching it. And
Because they can pause.
right, they can pause it, they can rewind it, so I can talk faster and they can pick up the information quicker.
Freshman Haley Dorsey echoed that point.
We're able to pause and go back and go over stuff that we don't really understand. But the videos are nice. I actually like them. They're much easier than what we used to do last year.
Jared Kosey is another freshman.
It's really nice to go home, go look on the YouTube channel, and watch the videos.
Because you're moving slower, there's moving less.
The question I like to ask is, what's the best use of your face-to-face class time?
Educator John Bergman, along with partner Aaron Sams, came up with the flipped classroom concept, originally designed for football players who missed class while on the road.
We have school backwards. We're sending kids home to do the hard stuff. We send them home to apply and analyze and synthesize content, and they can't do it.
Perfect.
And then when they come to class now in a flipped classroom, the difficult tasks, application, analysis, and synthesis, happens with the expert, the most important person, the teacher, present.
3% of teachers are flipping classrooms now, 18% have expressed interest, and 28% of school administrations want to do it.
I can challenge the people who are doing really, really well and help the kids who really are struggling. Was the amplitude lower or was the amplitude greater though? No matter what, I would say every day now I talk to every kid. One person wiggles the
For
other
Colin
person.
Black, the flipped classroom is right side up.
The slow one.
When I see a kid who's been struggling and then they understand it, that's what does it. It can't be short and long at the same time, Nathan.
Oh.
And for a whole group of young minds.
Video for Monday.
Dean Reynolds, CBS News, Gurnee, Illinois.
Also, this is a case study results from a school in Michigan. It's called Clintondale School, which has changed its entire curriculum to flipped classroom model. They have reported that an increase in graduation rate of almost 2%, an increase in college attendance, and also a substantial improvement in college readiness. Also, a survey from Byron High School in Minnesota showed that students prefer the flipped classroom over the traditional learning. They like interacting with each other in class and also like always having help available. So at this point, what is flipping? And to answer this question, we're going to look at the traditional classroom. So in the traditional classroom, students normally receive information by passively take notes, underline and highlight important information. And then when they go home, they do the homework, write papers, presentations. While in the flipped classroom, students receive information at home before coming to class, normally through short videos, some like assigned articles, also by doing quizzes, etc. And when they come to class, they process the information actively by engaging with other students and by doing problems, answering questions, etc. So this model started with Bergman and Sams in 2007, who are considered the founders of the flipped classroom in Woodland High School in Colorado. They noticed their students' performance were kind of decreasing, especially those who were football players, because they were missing classes. Also, they noticed that homeworks were so difficult for them. So they decided to create videos for their students who were missing classes, but they noticed that not only students who were missing classes were watching the videos, but actually the whole class took advantage of the videos. And they also noticed an increase in performance of both students who were missing classes and students who were actually coming to class. And with communicating with other teachers, the teaching model started like to spread everywhere. Um, so what the flipped classroom is? According to the Flipped Learning Network, the flipped classroom is a pedagogical approach in which direct instruction moves from the group learning space to the individual learning space, which means, this happens normally at home or outside the class. So by doing so, students can learn at their own pace. They can pause, rewind, or even rewatch the whole video if they need it. It also helps students to manage their cognitive load, which is the amount of information one can process at a time. Not all students, not all students are the same expertise level. Some novice students, for example, can stop the video at any time they want to think about it, to organize the content in a fashion that make sense to them. Expert students, on the other hand, can easily just skip the parts they already understand and focus their attention on aspects that are new to them. So by moving the direct instruction outside the class environment, students can have the class time for more in-depth learning tasks. They can learn cooperatively and collaboratively in a constructivist learning fashion, which stem from PJ's theory of cognitive complex or Vygotsky's theory of zone of proximal development. The teacher role here is a bit different. The teacher is more like guide on the side to help scaffolding students' understanding. So the question here is what should be given to students as home learning and what should be processed in class? And to answer these questions, we're going to use the new Bloom's taxonomy as a tool to determine what to give outside of class and what to provide in class time. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Bloom's taxonomy of learning, but briefly, it's a taxonomy that takes learning and rank it out for different types of learning, starting from low-order thinking tasks such as remembering, understanding, all the way up to more advanced or high-order learning, such as applying, analyzing, until creating. These are some of the verbs used with Bloom's taxonomy, which come very, very handy when creating a lesson plan. It also helps you as a teacher to know where you want your students to be at the end of the lesson. So by looking again at the traditional way of learning or teaching, most of the class time is spent on learning activities that deals with the low-order thinking tasks, such as remembering and understanding. Students take notes, normally underlining or highlighting some important information. And when they come to class, when they go home, they are left with the hard part of learning, or the higher order learning tasks, such as that requires applying and analyzing and creating. Um, for the flipped classroom, the flipped classroom is going to change this learning pattern by giving the students material that deals with the low order thinking to do at their own pace at home through videos. While in class, they will allocate, or sorry, while time in class will be allocated for more advanced order thinking tasks such as doing problems, labs, or projects. Uh, this shift has some advantages for the students. It's foster independent learning. It helps students to take ownership of their learning and becoming more self-directed learners. Also, it helps making learning central than teaching. Class time is no longer for teaching content. It is more for higher order thinking tasks that require students to actively engage with each other and with the teacher. So for you as a teacher, you can flip a lesson or an entire unit. And with more practice, you can even flip the whole course. At this stage, we will work together on Monday to flip only one lesson. So in class on Monday, we're going to look at some practical steps on how to flip a lesson. So to do so, I would highly recommend you to bring some like your laptop with you, and it would be great if you download one of the free screen recording tools, such as Screencast-O-Matic, Jing, or Office Mix. And if you are familiar with some other screen recording tools, please just bring it with you in class. And I'll see you on Monday. Thank you.